Our coverage continues. A right to work right now. This is a live look inside the state capitol. Lawmakers getting ready to vote on that right to work legislation.
The governor says he will sign the bill into law. 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey is live on the state capitol lawn where thousands of people are protesting. Joe?
Emily, I want to let you know this has been a pretty peaceful crowd for the most part up until this last few minutes. What you're seeing is live pictures of a tent. That tent belonged to a group that supported right to work legislation. That is being torn down by protesters here on the Capitol lawn. We are looking for some sort of police presence. We're kind of in the middle of everything right now, but that is being torn down right now. You see these protesters live as we speak. The vote has not happened yet. We are waiting for word on the vote upstairs, and we will hear on that. We will break into programming as soon as that happens. But right now, as I'm telling you, we're seeing the first bit of unruly behavior, if you will, out on the lawn of the Capitol.
Hey, Joe, if you can hear us there. Joe, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you, Brett.
Hey, Joe, just want to check in here real quick.
Yes.
Those right to work supporters, did they abandon that tent or were they kind of frightened away from it?
We don't know, Brett. Here's the thing. We were on the Capitol steps with our back to this tent. The tent is several yards away from the Capitol steps. And as we heard a very large cheer and the crowd kind of turned their attention, we turned our attention and ran around the side. We could see where the crowd was moving, and that's when we got over here. So again, it doesn't appear anybody is inside that. It looks like you got a group trying to up the tent right now. But that's how this all came about. We just kind of ran out here, saw that tent coming down, and this is where we ended up. But I'm looking right under it right now. I don't see anybody in there that's been injured or anything like that. My guess is people got out.
Buried underneath there for the last 5 minutes.
Who's buried underneath there?
I was underneath that tent.
What happened? What happened?
They tore it down. The beams came right down and hit. I don't know who it hit. Damn near hit me. I've been hiding under that table for the last 5 minutes.
What? They just came at you, or?
They tore the damn tent down.
It's a good thing you're never been in combat, motherfucker. Build it very good.
All right, you just heard from a man that was actually inside that tent. He went back in. He said he was under there for about 5 minutes, and he has unfortunately gone away. So we don't know that. Again, it doesn't appear to be any injuries here. We don't see any ambulances. We don't really until everybody got out. Okay, I've been told right now that. Okay, everybody got out. Did they get out before the tent came down?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So they had some sort of warning?
That I don't know. But
Okay.
Yeah, they did. There was a corner went down, and then someone went in and cleared everyone out.
Okay.
And then the whole thing went down.
All right. Those are eyewitness reports out here, Brett, that said there was some sort of warning, and everybody did get outside, with the exception of Joe. And you're seeing now we've got more. Brett, I don't know if you can still see our live picture.
We can see it, Joe, no problem. We're seeing a scuffle that's going on there. Somebody had his cell phone taken away because he was trying to tape the confrontation, and it's leading to this now, Joe. What else are you seeing?
Well, it looks like a little fight breaking out. What I'm surprised at, I don't see any state troopers coming out here. Obviously, they have quite a bit of a crowd to wade through to get out here. You'd expect to see them by now. I'm just turning around. I am face to face with a Ingham County Sheriff's Deputy's horse, Mounted Division. Several of them. I'm stepping out of the way right now, trying to let the law enforcement is here now. One of my problems, I got separated from photojournalist Mike Ingram. You're seeing what he is seeing. He is in the crowd. Again, I'm getting out of the way. This is state police, Brett.
Right here, we're looking at Mike's perspective. We can see everything that's happening as it's going on. Obviously, officers moving these people out of the way, breaking up whatever kind of fight that was going on there.
They have those wooden batons that we'd heard that they came with early this morning.
Joe, are you still there?
All right, Emily. Yeah, I'm still here, Emily. I'm dodging a very large Sheriff's Department horse and a whole bunch of state troopers. So you can imagine, I'm trying to stay out of the way here, and obviously law enforcement wants to get up and try to clear the scene out, but what you saw, state police chanting, move back, their chants really drowning out some of the organizers, some of the protesting here. They are now going into that scene. The crowd is starting to disperse. They're starting to move them out towards Capitol Avenue, towards Michigan Avenue, and again, a very large mass of state police. I said we didn't see any law enforcement. My general sense, and the way they usually handle these situations, is they wanted to get themselves together in some kind of organized fashion to move into here instead of just running straight in singularly. That might have done more harm than good. So Rick Albin is joining me live. Rick, I don't know if word filtered in to the Capitol about what happened out here, but let me get your reaction.
Well, actually, I was watching it live on television from our satellite truck. I had just come out of the House chamber, and at the point that I came out, nobody was aware that this was taking place out here. But what they are doing is there is continuing to debate. We don't expect any vote before noon today. We expect that those speeches will continue until sometime afternoon, and then we anticipate that there should be the vote on the first bill. Of course, there's a second bill that will have to go up there. But in the last 15 minutes or so that I've been out, there was no word coming back in. And the only way they would have it's a call of the House. So members really can't leave, and they really can't come back in if they do leave. So the only way they would know is by looking at social media or looking at websites, and a lot of them are doing just that. So they may well know what's going on in there by now. But they've been debating this now since about 10 o'clock this morning when they started 10:15. There have been a number of speeches. Most of them have been Democratic, of course, and they're very opposed. One speaker said that there would be blood if these pass, and they talked about some very dire consequences, both real physical consequences about some kind of confrontation of the workforce if you allow non-union people to come into union shops, and they also talked about the larger political issues that they're concerned about. So there's some very serious debate going on in there, but those votes, as I say, are scheduled probably shortly after 12 o'clock.
Take a look at this video. Protests continuing inside and outside of the Capitol building at this hour as the right-to-work legislation heads to the governor's desk now. It could soon be a done deal. Even civil rights leader Jesse Jackson came out today as Michigan's switch to a right-to-work state garners national attention now.
These workers in this state must now fight back and draw a line in the sand. That's why I'm going to invest a major one-day strike. Maybe a major one-day march on Washington for jobs and justice. It's a time now for massive discipline direct action to bring about this shift in the flow of the wind.
We have the most comprehensive coverage of this. 24-hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey is live now near the Capitol building. Joe, what are you seeing out there?
Sue, I'm actually across the street from the Capitol right now in front of the Romney office building. This is where the governor's office is. And take a look at the crowd we're seeing here. The governor, we are still trying to find out when exactly he will sign that legislation, but I want you to take a look. Heavily armed, riot-geared state police have lined the building. They just showed up minutes ago.
But they've been chanting that they want the governor not to sign the bill. They've been talking about a lot of different things. There you see at least one person has been put in those plastic straps that they are equipped with, that is, state police are equipped with, for mass demonstrations that they have to arrest several people. And we have seen a handful of people arrested so far.
We're trying to give you these live pictures, stand and let the protesters do their thing and let state police do their thing as well. But again, we're right in the middle of all this. And so we're trying to move and keep out of everybody's way and still bring you these pictures. But it is pretty amazing to watch all of this going down. In the middle again of Capitol Avenue.
Brandon Dillon, state representative from Grand Rapids, you have spoken at least twice passionately on these issues on the floor of the House. Despite your voices and all of these voices, those bills are now on their way to the governor. Give me your take.
Well, I think you're seeing here exactly the reason the governor said for 2 years he didn't want to pursue this legislation because it was going to divide the state of Michigan at a time when we needed to come together. The governor went back on his promise. He decided that holding true to Dick DeVos and other corporate CEOs was more important than standing up for the people who came out today to have their voices heard. These bills were rammed through the legislature without any committee hearings, without any debate, without any opportunity for people to have their voice heard. It's a sad day in Michigan when you have riot police surrounding the Capitol and surrounding government buildings because the governor went back on his promise not to run on legislation that he knew would have this effect.
Governor, right now,
this is not the Michigan my parents grew up in, and this is not the Michigan that I want written of in history.
Right to work is about the relationship between the union and workers, and this is about being pro-workers.
We've got this covered from all angles. We've devoted resources to this because it's so vitally important and perhaps one of the biggest policy changes in the history of this state.
This is 24-Hour News 8.
Good evening, everyone. Right to work is all but a done deal in Michigan. It's landmark legislation that we want to get you caught up on what's happening about right now. The state legislature gave the final green light to the controversial measure. It's now awaiting the governor's signature. He has said that he will sign it. 2 bills were passed today. One deals with the public sector workers and another focuses on the private sector.
Now, from outbursts on the House floor to protests inside and outside the Capitol, including some that got pretty rowdy, we are the only station that's been bringing you live, continuous coverage all day of this historic event for our state. That coverage continues right now with 24-Hour News 8 political reporter Rick Alvin.
It's hard to overstate just how historic this is. If you would have considered that Michigan would have become a right-to-work state at any point, it would have been highly unlikely. But when you consider it's one of the first 50% of the states to do so, it is really unusual. If I can get Nick to look over here, I want to show you what's happened to this protest. It's gone from several thousand to a handful.
The whole issue brought an estimated 12,000 protesters to Lansing. They descended on the Capitol today. We showed you live coverage all day. This view shows the pro-union groups that blanketed the grounds around the state capitol. Just minutes ago, we did learn that Governor Snyder has signed that right-to-work bill into law in our state. We've been telling you about it. Rick is standing by once again with the governor. Rick.
Susan, thank you very much. Governor Snyder, thank you for joining us. Well, this has been a historic day. I mean, this is a policy change in the state of Michigan that you would have to go back decades to find anything that is this sweeping. Would you agree?
Well, it is a major change, but it's a good change because it's about stepping up for workers. It's pro-worker, not anti-union. It's really giving workers choice, and it will bring more jobs to Michigan.
The protesters who remain in Lansing right now are near the governor's office in the Romney building, and 24-Hour News 8's Leon Hendricks joins us live. What's it look like out there now, Leon?
Sue, good evening. You just heard from the governor live. Now we want to show you what it looks like outside of his office. Once again, hundreds of protesters have come out. If you were with us about an hour ago, you saw us talking about how it was clearing out, not many people there. That sidewalk was easily passable. But after that announcement came down, the crowds came back, the chanting has started again, and so have the protesters. Of course, that's been the focus of the police effort here to try and keep everyone safe during a time where they're also trying to protect their right to protest. Even as the crowd swelled to numbers that police thought to be around 10,000, the early police interview was positive. Have there been any challenges so far?
No. There are plenty of protesters here, but everybody is voicing their opinion in a lawful and orderly manner.
But as morning turned to afternoon and right to work went from in discussion to being passed by the House, things changed. 2
individuals tried to rush past troopers into the building and scuffled with troopers and were arrested. The crowd was aggressive and tried to grab one of our troopers and pull him into the crowd.
Those incidents caused troopers to arrest at least 2, and others were treated after coming into contact with the spray. By and large, however, police called the day a success for crowds that got to be this large. They were prepped largely because of what they learned from Wisconsin, where protesters were able to storm the Capitol. Police here said they would have none of that.
Majority of the people in this crowd are good, hardworking people that are trying to make a point, and they're exercising their constitutional rights.
As the afternoon wore on, the focus shifted, like the right to work bill did, to the governor's office. At one point, protesters vowed not to let anyone out, even crowding the loading area to the Romney building. That changed with a few masked armed officers, many of whom said they supported the movement, but still had a job to do in keeping the peace. In Lansing, Leon Hendricks, 24-Hour News 8.
And during those protests, police used pepper spray a couple times to try and control the crowd. And among those hit was a former West Michigan lawmaker. 24-Hour News 8's Heather Walker spoke with him. Heather's joining us live now. How's he doing?
Well, it's not a good day for this guy. The former representative from the Battle Creek area, Mark Schauer, was hit in the face with pepper spray. He was one of about 10. And this video, take a look at this video. It happened earlier today. This video is actually taken by a protester. It shows just what happened. It's not an up-close shot, but it shows crowds pushing towards the Capitol and police pepper spraying them.
I just attempted to, cover my eyes and my face. I didn't know what was happening, and first tried to clean it out with a T-shirt. That didn't work very well, and I found some water and was able to flush it out of my eyes.
Now, the former representative is all right. He says many more got hit much worse. In Lansing, Heather Walker, 24-Hour News 8.
We will continue to stay on top of every development with this legislation. Tonight on 24-Hour News 8 at 11, we're going to be talking with the West Michigan Employment Research Group about exactly how Right to Work will impact business here.